And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Joe Glassford. Good evening, everyone. Late night, right here for you. Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and Game Source. Thanks so much for joining us. And also here today, good man indeed. You got to go ahead and check out what he's doing at Lakers Corner and Clutch Talk. He said, "Do you want to do a show in the near future?" I said, "I'm available tonight." So go ahead and check it out today. Lakers Corner and Clutch Talk. It is, of course, John Costa. John is here. Got to go ahead and mention all the great people who are also part of what we do here. Of course, Johnny Blade himself, a.k.a. Joe Soros, Simblades, simblades.com. Of course, Stone Hansen with Clutch Talk on Twitch. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, the Lakerholics, Lakerholics.com. Also as well, of course, Empire Jeff TV, Lakers in 5, John McKinley channel, all these great channels. Please support today, but please like and subscribe to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break. Yes, Daniel, was a Tatum Brick Fest, but not enough bricks were laid because snatching victory out of the jaws of defeat was the Boston Celtics today, because it must be early Christmas. I'll tell you what, John, because they certainly got a gift today with them facing off against the Indiana Pacers in game one, back and forth, mano a mano for most of the game. But late in the fourth quarter, the Indiana Pacers pulled ahead, and seemingly with just 30 seconds left, they had it all locked up. 3-point lead. All they had to do was just execute the right plays, and wouldn't you know, the luck of the Irish again of the Boston Celtics, my friend. And I'll tell you what, a couple turnovers late in the game. Tyrese Halliburton, questionable shot. Laker Nick hit it on the head when we were watching this on playback, and he was saying that Tyrese Halliburton really needed to go ahead and calm down, focus. He was getting too excited, amped up. Whatever it is that caused him to go ahead and make mistakes along with the rest of the Indiana Pacers, it was just disappointing because, again, inbounding the ball, unfortunately went out of bounds, gave the ball to Boston. They made a miraculous three-pointer, Jaylen Brown the corner to tie the game, and in overtime, despite the fact that they got the early lead, again, Tyrese Halliburton making mistakes, and it cost them. Turnover, tried to shoot a second three in a row with 20 seconds left on the shot clock. Just mistakes after mistakes after mistakes, and they end up shooting themselves in the foot, John, and costing themselves the game today in game one of their series, and they basically threw it away, 133 to 128 in overtime. And John, great to have you here. Your thoughts on the game today? Again, this was a missed opportunity, and in a series where they are heavily outnumbered and outgunned and the underdog in this series, this is a game they'll probably not soon forget.
Absolutely, Gerald. Honestly, first of all, let me say you have some great memory because you're just able to just run all that back. But man, honestly, what I'll say is the Pacers really blew it. Like Daniel, you said it best, brother. The Pacers blew it. They had an opportunity to steal one in Boston. Like, do we understand how pivotal that would have been to the series? That quite literally could have changed everything if they were able to steal one in Boston. And you know what? Like, with the mistakes with the Pacers, like, this is something that I've noticed, and I actually just dropped a video on Clutch Talk, which is one of my channels. So go check that out, where I was basically talking about, I was recapping all the second round series, and I talked about how I congratulations to the Pacers. They advanced and they had a phenomenal game seven. I haven't seen a team like play like that and shoot the lights out like that in a long time. But I don't think they were the better team. I think the Knicks were the better team. And like there were so many times throughout that series where they were just making so many mistakes, and they were still sometimes able to win games because of a stellar shooting performance or something like that. But they're making mistakes that I even told one of my homies. I said, like, I think this is going to catch up to them eventually. It's going to catch up to them eventually, and I think like in this series, it's going to start to catch up to them because you said it, that mistake by Tyrese then ends up being detrimental. But at the same time, credit to Jaylen Brown because that three was insane. I was watching that game and I told my daughter to watch. I was like, watch, this is something crazy. I was like the yellow team. I was like the green team is down by 3. Let's see what happens. Jalen, they run those double screen actions. Jaylen Brown gets the ball in the corner. And the crazy thing is, like, Siakam Loki hit him like on his way up. Like he just made contact with him, and for him to still knock that down, that shot was insane. And man, the Celtics got saved by a mistake and Jaylen Brown's massive 3-pointer.
Yep, but again, it led to just the fact that the execution down the stretch, and I know that was a big question for Boston, was down the stretch, would they be able to make the key plays? And sure enough, they did. It didn't look like it at first, but with 30 seconds left, again, it's all about execution. And Indiana didn't execute, and Boston did. And you got to give them credit, even though I hate to do so, because I think they're worthless pieces of green poo-poo. But I will say this again, you had your chance, Indiana. And this was not like or just a throwaway game 2 that Boston had the previous series where, oh yeah, we know we got you. When we go back, we'll just go on your floor and take 2 games away from you, like the past 2 series. This would have been a gut punch and a wake-up call for Boston right from the get-go. And it was a wake-up call for Boston, but they were able to answer the call late. And unfortunately, they are leading 1-0. And man, when Boston wins the series, not if, when Boston wins the series, Indiana's going to look back on this game 1 and just ask themselves what happened.
Gerald, something that I've been talking about when I always talk about Boston, and I'll be honest, like I am a Lakers fan, diehard Lakers fan, but I do like try to put my biases aside when I have just like regular NBA takes, and especially like when I'm talking on Clutch Talk, which is kind of like it is an NBA talk show where I talk about the NBA as a whole. So I have had the Celtics winning the championship since the beginning of the year, but the one thing that has it's made me think twice or hesitate or be fearful to have that mindset. It's the fact that the Celtics have yet to be challenged, right? They have yet to really have their backs against the wall in every single series that they've been in so far. Like, not only have they been the favorited team, just like on paper, but also on the court, like playing wise. Like every game that they've lost has just been either a crazy, rare, bad shooting night for them in the one game that they lost against the Cavs, and then against the Heat when the Heat hit a franchise record 3-pointers. So those 2 games that's an anomaly. Like, all right, that it is what it is. But I think what I have yet to see are them be in a position to where they're like, dang, we're down 3-2 or we're down 2-1, and if we don't win tonight, we're going to be down 3-1 and really that might be our season. And I want to see how they respond. So I'm not saying that this is that, because of course they still got another game at home to be able to I mean, even if they would have lost, they would have had another game at home. But I just want to see how they react when they're in danger of being eliminated. That's my only thing with Boston. And also, Kristaps has got to play for my take to be valid. Because
that's the other thing, though.
There's no question. There's no timeline, huh?
Well, actually, no, that was announced
Oh wow.
that is leaning towards a possible game four return for Kristaps Porzingis. So you could see him as early as game four, which would have been better for Boston fans. Now it's just like gravy, and they don't might by that time, who knows? Because if they don't come back, if Indiana just really reels from this loss the way I expect that they will, and it will be disappointing. By the time it gets to game four, you might not need Kristaps Porzingis to be there in game four, and so they might keep him out until the NBA Finals. So we'll see. Again, we got the word that he might be back as early as game four, but that's something I think we'll have to go ahead and see how it develops the series. If Indiana shows some testicular fortitude and be able to go ahead and man up and say, you know what, we blew it, but we're going to come back strong and be able to pull out game two and make a series of it. We'll see. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think this was their shot and they blew it, but I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping I'm definitely wrong on that one.
I mean, as a Pacers fan, you have to hope, but as a Celtics fan, you have to look at this game like, all right, we just withstood their best punch. Like, I don't know if they're gonna throw a better punch than this. And they're on a hot streak. They're on a hot streak. Like, honestly, the way they shot in that game 7 against the Knicks and the way they've been shooting like as of late is something that it's not sustainable. So we'll see what comes of that. Kubro said, "What if they make Spider-Man show?" Talking to you, Gerald.
Oh, well, I will say this, cool, bro. When it comes to a Spider-Man show, that's something that Sony and Disney and Marvel, they all have to come to agreement on. As far as what the regulations are between Spider-Man and what they can do as far as TV or movie. Because as far as an Amazon series, I think there's supposed to be something in the works that would lead you in the direction of Spider-Man as far as relating to Spider-Man, but not actually Spider-Man, just one of the offshoot characters. Because remember, there's close to 1,000 characters in the world of Spider-Man that they can go ahead and deal with. Sony can. So yeah, I'm sure they'll do something later on. But right now, Spider-Man, the movies make more money for them out there than anything that they can do on television. But they may make an animated series at some point in time, and that will be on Disney Plus if that's the case. But once again, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, it's funny. I've never seen like all those movies. Like, I've never been much into like superhero movies and stuff like that. Like, I've seen like snippets and like parts of like Spider-Man or Batman, but I've never seen it from beginning to end, to be honest.
Wait until your daughter grows up a little bit more. And if she's interested, watch them with her so you can get the reactions, because that's always a great way to go ahead and enjoy movies. It's through her eyes. I've noticed that, especially with 2 daughters now. One just graduated from high school. So yeah, just best way to do it is to watch movies through their eyes and go from there. But once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is John Costa from Lakers Corner Clutch Talk. It's Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for joining us all the way over in the Philippines. John, como esta ka, my friend? Hopefully everything is well with you. Salamat for taking the time out of your day to go ahead and watch us here at the Lakers Fast Break. Late night Lakers Fast Break. Kurt Affair is always here and about. Truly appreciate it. The man, the myth, the legend himself. Cool, bro.
Kurt.
Yep. There you go. Absolutely. So with that said, and we'll go ahead and we'll provide your thoughts on a preview for tomorrow's game, which is still tomorrow for us, which is Minnesota and Dallas here in a minute. But I want to ask you about the Lakers coaching search going on right now, because that's always a topic for us. The interviews have already gone underway, reportedly, for some of the major candidates that are out there, like Sam Cassell, Atkinson's name has been thrown there, James Borregos, and of course the podcaster himself, JJ Redick. And I talked about how Rich Paul, the CEO of Clutch, has talked about how LeBron is not at all in any way, shape, or form. I'm paraphrasing here. Any way, shape, or form going to be involved in this coaching search and decisions and anything of that nature. He is stepping away from it, per se. So I ask you, my friend, with that said, the interviews are underway. Again, it's not the most exciting list that's out there. We've said that several times on this show. Your thoughts, my friend, on this coaching search, and do you think LeBron is really not involved in this process?
Come on, guys. Of course, LeBron's involved in this process. I mean, your player, your coaches have to, appease your players. Like, we're not in an era where you can win and have like your coach and your player not be on the same page. Like, dude, these guys got to be cool, especially your best player. Like me, maybe a bench player, maybe someone that doesn't really matter that much to the team, but your best player, the player that arguably is the GOAT, or depending on who you're talking to, all this and all that, the player who's going to be so integrated in the offense, such an integral part of the offense. No way that he's not involved in this. Kurt
Kurt is
said,
saying, well, bring in JJ,
yeah.
Paul George, Draymond, and Pat Bev back, and you just call it the all podcast team.
That is hilarious, Kurt. Hey, that's crazy. I like that, but no, that's so funny because look, I laugh at it because I actually want JJ. I know people might kill me for that. I listen to this podcast. Like, he's a very smart guy, and again, I've said this so many times. I know that it may not translate, right? It may not translate. The X's and O's may not translate. It's like, what do you do when what I'm saying? Shit hits the fan. Like, how are you gonna be able to go get through that? Because X's and O's don't always save you, or just being a first time head coach as a Lakers head coach, like that's insane pressure. But like, I just want to give him a try. Like, I don't know, call me crazy, but if it works out, then people are going to call me a genius. But I listen to him a lot. I know he has a lot of knowledge on the game. I think he also has the relationship with the players, right? Because I know, like, as players,
Not the older ones, the modern ones. Yes, we've all
the
heard his
modern,
comments on the older players from the back in the day, 80s, 90s. What happened, even before that, talking about his plumber comments are that's going to stay with him. That's going to stay with him for a long time.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I'm just saying, like, I just think JJ, give him a chance. Just give him a chance, and well, you know what? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But if it worked, then we took a shot, and now we got a great coach locked in. Because I really do think it's going to translate. I really do think it's going to translate. Like, he's on the broadcast talking about exactly how to score. Like, I was listening to his conference finals
Because he was on
preview.
tonight with ESPN too.
Yeah. I was just listening on the one on YouTube on his podcast, and like, man, like, he's breaking down the game to where I honestly do not think Darvin Ham, if he watched that, like, he would even understand what was going on, to be honest with you. And he was talking about advantages, and I think that's all this game boils down to, is just constantly getting that advantage. And Kurt, I appreciate you, brother. Kurt said I'm more genius for being here. No, Kurt, I'm trying to learn, Kurt. I'm trying to get my game from you. and
There you
then
go.
the Lakers fast break family.
No one has more game than Kurt Affair. Absolutely. So I will say that when it comes down to it, my friend, again, on the surface, everything, all the candidates, they don't they don't inspire me at all, John. But that's not to say not one of them wouldn't come in here and do a great job. I'm hoping to be pleasantly surprised. It's just that we just don't have that coach with the, 4 or 5 rings that's, can just step in and just, command that presence from LeBron. I think that's what it comes down to, John, because we know LeBron is probably going to re-up with the Lakers. And if we're going to be stuck with LeBron for another 2-3 years, it's still LeBron's team, no matter how much we like it or don't like it, depending on who you are. And there's a lot of people right now out there that don't like it. I'm not thrilled by it either, because the fact he is getting close to the big 4-0, and you see signs of his game not where it once was. But it'll still be LeBron's team. How much it'll be AD's team, because they always talk about now in the rumors now that they're, oh yeah, AD's going to be part of this process. AD's got to be part of the coaching, search or whatnot. He's going to be informed and be an integral part of it. That's great and all, but still, my friend, it still revolves around LeBron. So to say that he's not going to be involved, I think you're just basically chastising all of us. You're just basically, making us look like fools if we actually are believing what you're trying to say.
That's wild for them to even say that. And I don't know. It'd be dumb for them to not be integrating LeBron and AD in this. Like, that's who the offense is going to run off. Like, don't you think they should be in understanding and like, yeah, I like this coach and his philosophy, and I think it'll match our game. Like, I just think it'd be dumb to not run it by them. So that was a crazy thing to even put out there. Yeah, I don't even know why and they would even put that out there. But Gerald, I did want to ask. You're always the one asking questions, but who do you like? Who's your number one target? I know you're not enthused.
I don't have a number one.
You gotta
I have like a number 17. Like, they're all like, if they were actually a regular list of candidates, they'd be all like number 17, 18 for me, because none of them just inspire anything out. James Borregos, nice guy. Heard he develops guys pretty good, but look at his record and look where he coached with Charlotte. Did he ever get them to really a higher level? Just outside of maybe what I think he got him to the playoffs once, got him to the 8th place. I think I'm not quite sure. I have to go ahead and look actually through it, but he didn't get them very high. Let's put it that way. Kenny Atkinson, we talked about how he took a team with D'Angelo Russell and a team that overachieved from what the talent base was on that team, took them and made a nice playoff run out of it. The next time around he got into the playoffs was with the super team. Unfortunately, a few injuries there, KD and all that, and didn't quite get the job done or anywhere close and got fired for it. So you're talking about putting him on a team with stars. He has not excelled with a team with stars. So I would probably lean Kenny Atkinson out. At this point, again, are you going to go down the assistant road again? Assistant road with Mika Nori or David Adelman? I guess you probably lean into one of those guys. If you had to go ahead and say, Gerald, can you pick one? I guess. I mean, Jay Wright is not coming back through those doors from Villanova, so that's not going to happen. I know that's Joe's favorite choice, but Chris Quinn, I've heard, if you listen to Udonis Haslem, you'd already be coach already because Udonis loves him, but we don't know. And he does have an association with LeBron before in the past, so maybe you could say that might be a good fit. But again, we went down the assistant road before with Darvin Ham, and look what that did for us. But I just don't want anyone from the Budenholzer tree, because we already got that with Darvin Ham, and it didn't work out for us. Somebody has got to come in there and be able to provide something different to look at. No more 5-outs, which don't work. No more AD shooting the pursuit of 3 to 4 threes a game. Absolutely does not work. It's the dumbest idea out there. Stop it. Stop it with the AD shooting threes. Give him those looks on the inside. Give him those looks in the mid-range. Figure out an offense centered around him. Figure out how you can go ahead and tell LeBron and AD, hey, why don't you guys try to do pick and rolls more than 2 or 3 times a game? Wouldn't it be nice? You seem to score every time off of it. Why don't you try to go ahead and run an effective offense where you run that pick and roll 30 times a game and see if the defense on the other side can last on it. So yeah, just some simple things. But if I had to say, I'd probably say one of the individual assistants out there that are really achieving success right now, Mika Nori, maybe Chris Quinn, or David Adelman. That's probably who I'd say, John, right now. But again, you're splitting hairs with me. You're just splitting hairs. It's just none of these coaches are just making me do backflips. That's for sure.
No, I totally feel that. And real quick, before I even get into a response, What's going on with Jay in the chat? Jay, what's good, brother? It's good to
What's
see you.
up?
And then Kurt said, "How do you guys think Chris Paul fits on this team? Is there anything left in the tank?" I mean, I personally wouldn't bring on Chris Paul, to be
Not for the
honest.
minimum?
Yeah, that's what I was
That's
gonna
all
say.
they
Like,
can get.
if okay, oh, for the minimum, I'd bring him on. The only reason why I was gonna give my reasoning as to not bring him on is because I think he would come with like he's Chris Paul, is he's gonna want some money or something like that. But if we can get him for the minimum, then uh, I think a good point guard to be able to take the ball out of LeBron's hands and just be able to give AD the ball where he needs. And I've said this so many times, like on my channel, on this channel. Anthony Davis, unfortunately, just cannot lead the team. Like he has to be 1B. He has to be 2A type guy, and he has to have someone set him up, give him the ball. And that, like how you mentioned, Gerald, the pick and roll with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. What's funny is like all season, this last season, I used to be like, I used to give them the benefit of the doubt in the regular season when they did not run a pick and roll like every time in close games. I used to be like, you know what? Okay, it's I get it. 82 game season, long season. You don't want to run a pick and roll every single time. You're gonna wear out LeBron James, 39, about to be 40 years old. It's okay. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. And then when the playoffs came and I didn't see him running it every single time, I was like, am I the only one seeing this? And like, you know what I'm saying? So
ISO, ISO,
obviously
ISO.
I was like, this is insane. Like we know what works. But yeah, as far as that's crazy. I honestly wouldn't be opposed to you said the Chris
Chris
Quinn.
Quinn?
Yeah, Chris Quinn, the Miami Heat assistant. I wouldn't be opposed to him, to be honest with you. But I'm still riding high on JJ, Gerald. I said give him a shot.
Why not? What are you going to do? I mean, just at this point, you're, if I'm sure it'll make LeBron happy, and this team still centers so much around it does all the wrong things at all the wrong times right now. This organization seems to be, it's got, that's what I fear, John, is that all to someone that steps, that's not within the confines of the organization. I'm not in El Segundo right now. I am stepped outside. I'm trying to look and see this organization for what it's doing right now. And it scares me, John, because all the signs are there for possibly a major disaster going forward, because you're going to bring back LeBron. You've got AD. Those two can't get any healthier during the course of the season than they did already. So that's a concern. LeBron probably will never shoot better than he did this season from behind the arc. So that's a concern to me. Then you've got the fact that you don't have as much, I guess, the availability to trade because you're kind of cash strapped. You're up against the cap. You're right there, so you're limited on what you can do. Three number ones for someone. I know that what we had with Empire Jeff. He was on his show tonight talking about again Donovan Mitchell. This is why we got to get Donovan Mitchell. We can get Donovan Mitchell. He's already done on one of his Substacks. Donovan Mitchell. He is all in on Donovan Mitchell, which I don't know. I think pisses off Joe because Joe says it's unrealistic, and I have a tendency to agree because I don't think three number ones will do it. And I just don't, I think if you're Cleveland, you're just laughing. If I know you got to trade him if he doesn't get the extension, but it's just something where I just wouldn't take just three number ones for him if that's the case. But be that as it may, my friend, when it comes right down to it, I just see so many signs for this team that I'm very fearful of that they will fall into as far as the trap is concerned. So I'm very fearful of the direction of this organization because it is more likely than unlikely that the team will go in the wrong direction. I'm hoping I'm wrong. We'll see by the time October, November comes around. But all the signs, there's a lot of signs, actually, there's a lot of signs that are pointing their way towards a negative ending instead of a positive one.
As long as Genie is running his team, we're gonna be going to in the negative, Gerald. But real quick, I want to talk about something we got in the chat. And what's going on, Brian Greeny? Appreciate you chatting. He said, "What's up, chat? We're wasting AD's prime." I agree with you, brother. That man is a absolute beast and had one of the healthiest seasons and one of his greatest seasons, to be honest. And we ended up wasting it. But what I don't agree with is he said all big men need to be fed constantly. I disagree. Look at Jokic. But I guess if you want to call Jokic like anomaly because he's just like 101, okay, I hear you. And then he said LeBron is scamming us. Why build this team around a 40-year-old? Absolutely, I agree. Why build this team around a 40-year-old? Like if we're just looking for the future, like we should just go to go to that. You know what I'm saying? And fully invest into that by not even ringing up Bron. But it's LeBron James. Like I feel like how do you not like kind of re him up because it's LeBron James. Like I don't really know how else to say it. And it's not like it's LeBron James like giving you 40 years old giving you 12 points per game. Like LeBron James was just still very very elite this last season,
Yeah.
and any team would take that. To be honest with you, now I'm not saying any team that's like in a championship, window and contending right now, maybe they wouldn't because it absolutely changed everything up. But any team that's not in that window, which is more than less, would take that. So I feel like it's kind of tough to just let LeBron James walk. So just wanted to say that and appreciate you chatting here, brother.
L24, Lakers fan 24, you're exactly right. I mean, you've heard me gushing over what OKC has done and the fact Sam Presti, no, it has not led to a championship. And that's the first thing that you got to say. It has not led to a championship. But my God, man, when you have, I feel like you've got one balloon left. You go to the carnival, you've done all the balloons are popped on the dart game, and there's just one balloon left. And if you're like Sam Presti, you bought all the darts that you can, John. I feel that's the way OKC is because I mentioned it the other night with Magic Man. I looked, they have like what I forgot how many. It's like in the was it 50 or close to, it was, let's put it this way, 2029 they have 14 draft picks in 2029. Yes, they've got at least what 6 3 is anywhere from 5 to 7 to 14 for the rest of this decade.
That's wild. That is so crazy.
They should have. They can keep on getting it right each and every year. Oh, yeah. We need this. We'll just throw this at a team and get what we need. Oh, we need this. We'll just go ahead and get this and see if we can get a number 1 draft pick out of it. So they have all those options going forward. So and to see the way they built their team it does make me envious because of the fact that the Lakers, in the meantime, have done everything in their power to steer away from that model and not build their team from within. Because, and I think that was Allen that said it best. That's probably the best way to go ahead and build a championship team is draft well, get them while they're young, and get them before they sign their extensions and really get them to go ahead and play together as a unit and build your team then. It's so much harder to do when it's an older team, a more expensive team. Because again, a couple of years down the line, Boston's going to be eating the Brown and Tatum extensions. Minnesota's going to be eating a lot of extensions. So how long does that window for both of these teams? You don't know. But right now, you're seeing the fruits of drafting well and making good trades to help that perpetuate those winning teams. So yeah, that's just where I'm at right now, my friend. And because the Lakers are just not following that same path, it kind of irritates me because you see a better pathway for the Lakers and it's just not being followed.
Yeah, no, I think as long as we're under the helms of Genie, we're never going to be making any right decisions. We're not going to be putting the right people to make the right decisions in the right roles. But Also, the Thunder. You made a great point when you talked about how they can have chance to just basically do over a whole bunch of times. Like, oh, we need this, and that kind of made me think. Like, earlier in the season, I kept saying like, I think they should have like threw the Picks house at the Pacers and got Miles Turner. I ain't gonna lie, but I don't know if that would have even been possible. But
Which Miles Turner, though? I mean, we see Miles Turner dominate on some days he doesn't. But pair him alongside AD, he doesn't really have to do that. He can be the Miles Turner that we see today, and paired alongside with AD. I get it, but the Lakers didn't have 3 number ones to throw. They didn't have enough of a package. I think that Indiana was interested in.
yeah, no, I'm talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder. Like, I think
Oh,
they
they
should have
should.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was talking about because you made your point of the
yeah.
Oklahoma City Thunder having all those picks, and I
I
think
was
that
saying
like
Lowry Markkinen. I don't think they'll get now that Indiana's in the Eastern Conference
not
Finals. No,
anymore.
nobody's. Yeah,
But I was saying like I was
back
saying this
then.
back then, like
Yeah,
before even in regular season, before the trade deadline even hit, I was like, what they really should do is they need to get bigger. Like I know Chet is lengthy, but he's small and he gets put like he just kind of gets exactly what Daniel Gafford did to him. Like you're just too small. I'm moving you out the way, and they really needed a big, like a true big. And I remember when they brought in Gordon Hayward at the trade deadline, and I was just thinking like, man, I mean, I guess it's a solid move, but they didn't even end up really using him and
no, that
utilizing him.
was
So I was
yeah.
like,
He might be
so
washed, or he might be back.
I don't think
He
he
might
is.
be. He might be minimum level now from now on out.
He might be minimum level because of the season because the Thunder just played him like that. But I'm not gonna lie, like I watch a whole lot of like League Pass, and I was watching the Hornets, and he still had when the Hornets were giving him a chance, giving him opportunity, giving him the ball, letting plays run through him, like he still had a little bit in the tank. And I was just so surprised, that they bring him over and then use him as little as they did. But as far as so that's why I was like, man, they should really bring a big. But as far as your point, it's a
I
great
think
point
Lowry
because
Markkinen, if they get Lowry Markkinen, because
that's
obviously, like I
tough.
said, Turner's no longer available. Markkinen could become available. Would be a great pickup by the Lakers, but I think it fits OKC even more.
Absolutely. And Kurt just brought up a great point, which I think they can get for way cheaper. Is Steven Adams, and I know
Well,
it's
yeah,
he's a bit older, but man, he's exactly kind of what they need. They don't really need like someone to a good center to that like is doing so much work because that's going to be Chet. They need a big that's going to be able to relieve Chet from that.
he's now in Houston, by the way, after the trade.
Yeah,
He got traded, but we don't know how much he has left because he's been he's coming off that serious knee injury. I believe he blew out his knee, or was it an Achilles?
I
That
don't. I honestly
I
don't
think it was
know.
a knee. I think it was a knee with him and an ACL. And if that's the case, yeah, I don't. We have to see what he looks like next season. I'm sure Houston will go ahead and put him in as a backup to Sengun and give him enough time to look good at the trade deadline so they could package him for somewhere else. So OKC still may have a chance to go ahead and reunite him there. So definitely we'll see.
That'd
But
be cool to see.
yeah, so great suggestions there. Once again, it is John Costa from Lakers Corner and Clutch Talk. Great to have you here. We're talking Lakers on a beautiful Tuesday evening before midnight. But before we head out, some other things I want to cover, including John's thoughts on tomorrow's game between Minnesota and Dallas. I want to go ahead and ask you your thoughts. Austin Reaves, a guy who may be trade fodder for this team during the course of the summer. Maybe someone that, if you hear Empire Jeff, would probably be a package for Spida, which again, I don't think the Lakers have enough. I think, Rui, what, Austin, JHS, even if you were able to convince D'Angelo Russell to sign a trade, which he wouldn't because Darius Garland's there. So I don't think it would be like repeating itself. And 3 number ones is going to get you Spider Mitchell because again, with so many other teams out there that can bid more, I think that's going to be something interesting to see if he doesn't get the extension. But Austin Reaves was trying to go ahead and make his way onto a PGA Tour event earlier today, and didn't quite make the cut. I think he shot a 76, if I remember correctly, and was not able to go ahead and make the cut, which leads me to my question to you, my friend. With the fact that the Lakers, they are in the off season, but with Reaves only shooting 36% on the season from behind the arc and not well enough when it came down to it, although his defense did get better and he did play against Jamal Murray really well. What are your thoughts on Austin Reaves carding a 76, not qualifying for the Corn Ferry event earlier today? But what are your thoughts on him paying so much attention to trying to become a PGA golfer for a day or for a weekend, in that matter?
Well, I mean, I guess it's the off season, so if he's gonna spend a little weekend or week doing that, I guess that's cool. Honestly, I'm the type of guy, and I feel like maybe if I was in the NBA, it'd be different because that'd be like my actual job. But like, I really love basketball. Like, I really, really love basketball, and like I consume so much basketball, whether it's far as like watching NBA, watching WNBA, watch that with my daughter sometimes. I go play basketball all the time. I've been playing basketball literally my whole life. I feel like if I was in the NBA, I wouldn't do anything like besides, I'm saying like be with my daughter, be with my family, do all this, doing all that. But like, I just feel like, why do NBA players do all these other things? Like, I just feel like it's just so unnecessary. I'd be in the gym all the time. But I guess it's cool that Austin Reaves is doing that.
So you're not concerned at all the fact that he's spending quite a bit of time hitting golf balls, and for every golf ball he's hitting, he's not shooting a three or practicing that.
I'm not concerned. He'll get back to it. He better get back to it. I mean, it's just for like a weekend, right?
I mean,
Or like
one pays him $14 million, the other doesn't. I'm just saying. So
feel it. He needs to get back in the gym. Get back in the gym, AR. Come on.
that's all I'm saying. If he was shooting 40% plus, if he was shooting the same numbers that D'Angelo was hitting, 42%, then again, we'll go ahead and talk about that. But all right, we'll see what happens. But I will probably, if I remember, I will try to remember this if he's not playing well this upcoming season. So we'll just leave it at that. So I'll try to remember that. But speaking of D'Angelo, before we get to the all defensive team and your thoughts on tomorrow's game, wanted to hear, since you are the president of the D'Angelo fan club, the D'Angelo episode that we did the other day on his status and his future. Should he stay? Should he go? Should we make an effort to keep him? Should we not? Seemed to be very divisive on the D'Angelo Russell debate. So I want to hear your thoughts on this. Of course, you are the president of his fan club, but even you admitted to him in the playoffs, not especially this year, not being consistently that number 3 option the Lakers needed, which was part of the reason for the Lakers to win. It's not obviously all him. Of course, there were many other mitigating factors, not to mention Darvin Ham, who was let go, but you only really got 2 good D'Angelo Russell games out of 5. His defense, of course, it is what it is, but really only got 2 good D'Angelo games out of 5. So I want to hear your thoughts. I know that Joe wants to keep him around because of asset management 101. At least you want to make sure you sign him, whether or not you sign and trade, if he wants to go somewhere else, or wait until the trade deadline to trade him. You need that contract because the way the salary cap is, the Lakers probably can't or will not be able to recoup all that money. So your thoughts on the future status, the way you see it for D'Angelo Russell?
Man, I agree with Joe. I think it just makes more sense to keep him for the right price tag, right? Because the thing is with D'Angelo Russell is like, he's not a playoff guy. Like, and it kind of hurts me to say that, it just kind of hurts me to say that. He just because playoffs, it's different. Like it's played.
But I want playoff guys.
I
That's the
agree, but
problem.
listen, hold on. Let me finish this point because it might make some sense. Because look, so he's not a playoff guy, and in the playoffs, I want LeBron James making decisions. But if we're gonna roll with LeBron, we have to have a guy that can not make too much money and be able to make the decisions during the regular season. Because, like I was saying earlier, I couldn't blame the Lakers when they weren't doing a pick and roll every single time with LeBron James and Anthony Davis throughout an 82 game season. I just couldn't blame them. I was like, you know what? I get it. LeBron James 39. Don't do it. You don't need to do it every play. You're going to exhaust them making all those decisions every single time down court. So I think to have a player like D'Lo who can do that, who can make those decisions, who can be that guy for us in the regular season would be amazing, especially for a low price tag. Now, when playoffs comes around, we got to understand that I just feel like our expectations it just has to drop. Like to be honest, and it's sad to say this, but it's been a couple years that he's proven this time and time that this is how he is. Maybe it's just a bad matchup against the Nuggets, and he's doesn't match up well against their guards. They put too much pressure on him. But if that's the case, then like man, if he doesn't match up well against the Nuggets, then thank the Lord we didn't get the Timberwolves like how some of us wanted because. Even who knows how he would have deal with that kind of pressure. So all I say is, if we're gonna go with LeBron James and we're gonna keep LeBron James, then let's have a player like D'Angelo Russell that can be our, LeBron in the regular season, make decisions for us, initiate the offense, allow LeBron to run the lanes. So I say let's keep D'Lo for that reason. But I also let's drop our expectations on him because. I think that just, it just hurts us. It's like, we're just like, wow, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. And he doesn't. And then we just get so much more upset.
Xbox, you're so funny. I will say this, though, John. D'Lo, again, he cannot be your number 3 guy in the playoff setting. JSJ is right. Yeah, every time D'Lo leaves the team gets better. The team he leaves gets better. It's just statistical right there. I mean, his last season in Minnesota, the team was better with him off the floor than on. And again, if you're going to keep him, JSJ, it's strictly asset management 101 at this point in time. Because John just said himself, he is the president of his fan club, and even he admits he's just not a playoff player, which is what we need. So what we can do is we can sign him, but with all intentions of moving him come February. That's probably what I think will probably happen, will most likely happen, because unless you find a number 3 for the Lakers, if you do get a Spider Mitchell, that obviously would be insane for the Lakers to get, but that would be the best case scenario, I think, for them right now. If you are able to go ahead and get them, or Jared Allen, or a Lauri Markkanen, or something that will really spice up the starting lineup, that's fine. But him staying as a number 4 would be okay. But if you're still your number 3, you got to look to make some moves with him come February.
Absolutely, you got to. He can't be our number 3 come playoffs. Like that's it. Like we have to have another guy, and yeah, I think Donovan Mitchell would be just peak what we could get. But hey, I just think it's as long as we don't necessarily have to figure out the player right now, but what we do have to figure out is just who is not the player, and that's just not D'Angelo Russell. As unfortunate as to say, and that's my guy, and I still think he's a great player, but he's just not the number 3 on a team trying to contend. It's the truth.
Once again, it is John Costa from Lakers Corner and Clutch Talk. It's Gerald Glassford. It is late night Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate it. So I think that's whenever you get a chance to come on, we should talk more about what the options for the Lakers are as far as trading is concerned. So next time you come on, give me your thoughts on exactly which trade targets you think are realistic for the Lakers. Not, I don't want you to go Laker Tom, where you're getting Spider Mitchell for a second round draft pick and all that. So I think anything realistic that you think the Lakers possibly can look into this summer would be really helpful on that. But before we go, Anthony Davis, I'm wearing the t-shirt, Anthony Davis t-shirt here because he was named to the all defensive team earlier today. And again, great honor for him, but it's always lacking something, John, when he gets named to this, because he's just like, it's like a participation trophy, because we all think of him in such a higher manner. And I know, again, I argued with Joe that because he thinks Wembanyama should have been the defensive player of the year. I personally don't, because of how bad the team was overall. Having the guy be named defensive player of the year on a 20 win team was just, I just don't see that really being a good case. But your thoughts on AD making the all defensive team? I think AD should have been higher up in the voting. Whether or not you want to make him first, that's up to you. But man, just seemed like an afterthought because of what AD really provided for us as far as our defense. This defense was predicated on Anthony Davis for the Lakers.
You know what's crazy? So I did a NBA awards episode on my channel, and when I was talking about defensive player of the year, I was like, it's kind of hard to not put AD in the conversation. I didn't have him winning, and I'll get to who had winning. But what I said is it's kind of hard to not have AD in the conversation because, like, if you think about it, this Lakers team would have been maybe the worst defensive team in the league if it was not for Anthony Davis. And for us not being the worst defensive team in the league is solely because of Anthony Davis. So like that speaks volumes on his defense. That speaks volumes to, because there was games that we won because of our defense, and that's all one man anchoring and quite literally doing a little bit of everything. But I also think that it'd be hard to rule out Bam, to not have that conversation and not talk about Bam Adebayo. I think it'd be hard to have that conversation and not talk about Rudy Gobert, who ended up winning. But I really think that like this year, like Rudy Gobert really did deserve it. And I think Wemby was great too. Like I think you can have Wemby in a conversation, but to win it all, like how your point, I do think that, being on a team like that is crazy. But also like, I just think Rudy Gobert, not only did he have the same impact, like impact wise, where you can visibly see players get to the blow past their players, see Rudy there, help sign and now go back, or have to throw up a crazy shot because of Rudy's length. And same thing with Wemby, same thing with Chet as well too, to be honest. But I just think that with Rudy Gobert, you can visibly see it. The numbers are there. Like players were shooting like 25% worse with Rudy when they were finishing on Rudy Gobert than the rest of the league. It's crazy. So, and I mean, he anchored a team that stayed top 5 in defense all season long, like, and is continuing to play. Gerald, oh my goodness, that game 2 defense, and he wasn't even there. Like that was insane. That might have been one of the craziest defense I seen literally in my NBA, like watching life, to be honest with you.
Well, the thing is, you saw in that last game against Denver, the good and bad of Rudy Gobert. As I mentioned that night, it was when he plays soft like he did in that first half, Jokic abused and destroyed him.
Yeah.
It wasn't until that third quarter when the whole team started to get its act together. I don't know what was said when they had a timeout when they were down by 20, or I think they had a timeout, but it was right around then. I don't know what was said, but man, it was just, it lit a fire on all of them. They started playing with force. If Rudy plays with force, he is a lot more formidable as a defender. So
Credit
uh,
to Anthony Edwards because that man started clamping. He just Jamal Murray had I believe I think he had like 24 points in the first half, and then Anthony Edwards probably went in our locker room and said, "I got him," and started picking him up like full court. We're right at half, and man, that was impressive. I honestly, Gerald, like when I finished that game 7, I told my girl I was like, I'm genuinely shocked. Like I really had the Nuggets going to the finals, to be honest.
it was amazing. It was even a bigger choke job than what Indiana did tonight. So that will say that's probably the biggest choke job of the playoffs so far, even over the Lakers' 20-point lead that they lost as well. But it is, of course, the Lakers fast break, and I want to congratulate Bam Adebayo, Anthony Davis, Rudy Gobert, Herb Jones, and Victor Wembanyama for being the all defensive first team. But before we head on out, my friend, speaking of Rudy Gobert, he is going to be the starting center on the team that's now in the Western Conference Finals against the Dallas Mavericks. This is a different challenge for them. You still have a perimeter player to deal with, like you did with Murray, but a little bit different in Luka, but also a great scorer in Kyrie Irving. You've got some size underneath as they play a 7-footer. They might have to play both 7-footers at the same time. They don't have everyone on the roster yet, I think, coming back on Dallas yet, but we'll see. But the key for me, as I told Frank, our favorite Dallas fan, who's always in the chat, it's always about the 3 and the 4 position for me. In this case, PJ Washington, Derek Jones Jr., and then a little bit of THJ, Tim Hardaway Jr. That's the reason why they won their last series. If they win this series, I still think it's going to be about them again. It's about the 3 and the 4 positions with the Dallas Mavericks. I mean, Derek Lively II gave you a tremendous game 7, absolutely, but PJ Washington and Derek Jones hitting from the outside when they don't normally do so at 32%, 33% normally, and they're hitting above 40, getting close to 50, that's a killer. And Minnesota has to find a way to stop that perimeter attack.
Absolutely. I think that was a great point brought up, Gerald. And to be honest with you, I think that I remember last series in I believe it was game 2 or 3, with the one and PJ Washington had 29 points. I was like, wow, this Mavericks team, they were able that's when I knew the series was over, to be honest with you, because even in game 2, because I was like, the Mavericks were able to get a win. PJ Washington had 29 points and Kyrie had 9 points, I believe, that 9 or 7 points or something like that. And they were able to win without even throwing their best shot. That's when I knew. I was like, yeah, this Mavericks team is legit, and they are able to be good in literally so many different ways, so many different styles, so many different facets. They can have PJ Washington hitting and going off. They can have Derek Jones Jr. Going off and whatnot. But at the end of the day, like, if all else fails, like, they have 2 of the most just dominant, like, Kyrie can just dominate in a game by just scoring, just simply taking over. Luka can just dominate a game in quite literally every facet. Like, he can just score. He can also get everybody involved. He can also rebound the ball. He can just literally control a game like Jokic can. He's the Jokic in a point guard's body, or more of a guard. I mean, he's not like he's small. He's like 6'7" himself. But I say all that to say, like, he's like Jokic if he just was more of a perimeter player. But I still got the Timberwolves in this series, though, to be honest. But you're on mute.
And how many games are you thinking,
in 6, to be honest with you, in 6, because I think that Kyrie and Luka alone are good enough to get you a game literally by themselves, a game each. Not saying it'll happen that way, but like, if the worst comes to worst, Kyrie can just absolutely go berserk in the game, and I think he can get one. And same thing with Luka, but I don't think that's how. I think they'll have games where they have this all around balanced attack, like how they had. But I just think the Timberwolves they're just too much right now. They're too much, and I'm gonna say this right now, Gerald, just so everybody sees it. Again, upsetting to say, but I'm just keeping it real. Okay, that's why you guys definitely got to check out my Clutch Talk page because I keep it real in there. Lakers Corner. Sometimes I put the purple and gold glasses on, and I'm not. You know what? But
It's
on
like the
Clutch,
It's like the Coke that Laker Tom always drinks. You never know how much purple and gold is in there when he drinks.
Exactly right. So sometimes on my Lakers Corner page I have the glasses on, but on Clutch Talk I'm always keeping it real. So I really have the Celtics, to be honest, winning the championship, but I have this inkling feeling. I don't know why. I don't know why that the Timberwolves really might win it. Like the way they've been playing, they're just their depth, their coaching, their leadership, just their players that know their role, just from top to bottom. Like, man, I have this feeling that I'm just like, man, I'm having a hard time seeing what team's gonna stop them. But I just got to keep it real on that. But yeah, I just wanted to say that just so I can date that.
No worries, no worries. Again, it is of course the Lakers fast break. Truly appreciate it. I think it's going to go 7. I
So
think it's going to go 7 with Minnesota. If Minnesota plays like they did for 3 games and 1.5 quarters, they're the best team in the NBA. But the problem is they get in funks, especially on the offensive end, where they just they get into Lakers bad habits. I see the same things like iso ball. They create themselves bad shots, bad looks. They find ways to go ahead and get themselves out of the whatever role that they're on. They find themselves their ways out of it, and it's just and that also affects their defense too. Once they stop hitting shots, it really affects their defense, and that's with most teams. Where if you stop hitting shots, it's just going to affect you on the other end as well. But if we get the team that swarming defense, the team that actually guards better on the perimeter than I've seen any other team ever do, then you know what it could go 5. But again, I'm putting 7 to be a little bit more conservative on that. So,
I
and
like
by the way,
that.
JSJ just subscribe to Clutch Talk.
Thank you very much, JSJ. Thank you for joining the family. Kurt, appreciate you for dropping in links, my brother,
Funny, I
for both
mentioned
my channel.
mention every single day Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner. They're finally subscribing to it.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Yes, subscribe. Come join the family. I'm dropping got all type of content dropping. Lakers in 5, my dog.
There you
What's
go,
up?
LI5. What's up? Great to have you here. If you haven't subscribed to LI5 yet, please go ahead and do so as well. But before we head on out, my friend, I do want to go ahead and ask. And Sports Baby, again, I'm sorry about your team today because he is an Indiana Pacers fan. They just didn't execute down the stretch, and I'm not sure if they had a timeout. I remember Laker Nick telling me that they were not able to call a timeout, but if that's the case and they were able to call a timeout, that then there's no excuse. Rick Carlisle, if he had a chance to call a timeout, should have asked for a timeout. And then also as well, why after Dennis Neesmith fouled out, you put Nemhard on Tatum? That was dumb. That was dumb because that led to 5 points right there. That was absolutely a dumb move to make by Carlisle. Should have put Turner on him, but that was just me. But be that as it may, my friend, it is of course great to have you here. You know, I'm going to keep on sending you the links, and you can stop by anytime you can. Although Joe will be here, unfortunately, most likely next time around. But any last thoughts, my friend, on the way out?
Man, guys. As far as Lakers Nation,
Oh, I said Sports Baby will only sub if John says Jordan is better than LeBron.
okay, for a subscribe, Jordan's better than LeBron. Go ahead, smash that subscribe button, my guy.
There you go.
Okay, but look, for Lakers Nation, let's keep our head up. Let's give JJ a chance. That's what I say. I know, man. I know everyone may not agree, but maybe give him a chance. For as far as just the NBA world out there, NBA community, man, we are getting blessed with some great basketball, some great basketball. I was thinking to myself earlier today, either Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, or Jason Tatum, or Luka Doncic for the first time is gonna win a championship this year. One of those is gonna, some is gonna happen, and we just gotta sit here and get to just watch this great basketball and see what happens, man. So I'm locked in. I'm gonna be back real soon. Gerald, I appreciate you as always, my brother. And everyone give it up for Gerald, man, because Gerald works so incredibly hard to keep the channel running, keep the channel going. 365, always live streaming, always editing. So, Gerald, I want to give you your flowers and your props because I know how much work it is and you doing it on a nightly, daily basis.
Dealing with
I
Joe
know.
is bad enough.
And I know
That's a
everybody
job in and of
here
itself.
appreciates you. Appreciate. Yeah, Gerald is goated.
Well, thank you.
100%. 100%. We love you, Gerald.
I
Kurt,
appreciate it. The love goes right back to each and every one of you. Truly appreciate it.
absolutely. And Kurt said he unsubscribed so he can blackmail me to say something later. Come on, Kurt.
That's Kurt for you. All the best. But I will be back tomorrow. Playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Again, Laker Nick and I will be there. Laker Nick, again, very pointed comments. I know he doesn't always come on the air very much on when he's on playback, but when he speaks, it's always something very profound, and I'm truly grateful. And tonight, he hit it right on the head with Tyrese Halliburton. As far as the inexperience, he got caught up in the moment, and it cost his team the victory today. I think between him and the mistakes that Rick Carlisle made, which would be reminiscent of Darvin Ham, I think that was the difference today. And unfortunately, they're down 0-1 to the Boston Celtics. But tomorrow we will be back on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. It is Dallas Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves. We'll see what happens there. And then any more news, any more golfing tournaments, any more all defensive teams, or any more Lakers coaching news, we'll go ahead and talk about it tomorrow night because we've got you covered. And for John Costa, please go ahead and check out what he's doing today at Lakers Corner Clutch Talk. He does the sensational job for doing it. Sports Baby says Bronny is going to Saudi Arabia for $900 million for 4 years.
I would too.
Yeah. Don't think you would find many that wouldn't, but you got it. I know I saw that on your on the messenger earlier today, SB. That was hilarious. But again, well, actually, you know what? You weren't here last week, so let me ask you this before we head it out, because thank you, SB. You reminded me of the Bronny James saga last week, because interesting how ESPN has dropped the rankings for their top 100 prospects, and who is climbing up the charts? None other than Bronny James after Chicago, climbing up from what was once 98 to now 54. And it's amazing that he would be ranked as high as that, seeing how he still looks like to many anonymous NBA scouts and to us that he still is not ready for the NBA. But it's okay. All right, whatever. Number 54. I wonder who is at number 55, picking right around there. Your thoughts on Bronny James as a possible NBA prospect? Believe it or not believe it?
Honestly, he probably. I think he's gonna go because, bro, the nepotism is insane, and he's not a bad basketball player, y'all. Like he's like I've seen him play live, and like I do think he's gonna be an NBA player. I'm not gonna lie. Now I didn't watch more than one. I only watched literally one USC game this year, and that was the game that I went to because I don't watch college basketball. I'm locked into the NBA. College basketball is cool, March Madness is fun and all, but there's just so much going on in the NBA, and I like NBA more than college hoops. I know some people may call me crazy, but hey, it's sort of the way I've always been. But I just, from the game that I've seen, like, he's just a solid player, right? Like he's just exactly like that block at dude said it right. Like I think he's a player that if he wants to be in the NBA, like he's starting the G League, make his way, make his name, figure out what's going to be his niche in this game because he's not the type of guy to where and this is the way I describe Bronny when I went to go play him. He's not the type of guy that's like give me the ball and I'm gonna just take over because I'm just that good and forget the offense. Like he has to play within the offense for him to be able to be good. Get it, catch it, rip through, triple threat, look at it, let's see if somebody cutting through, not just I'm gonna take over type stuff. So Bronny, great player. I mean, definitely a great basketball player to even be there. But I just think, um, I just think that we better not take him just because he's LeBron James' son. That's not what we need. That we don't need Bronny. And
Reggae
then
Joe, what's up? Great to have you here, Reggae Joe. OKC fan, sorry about what happened with your team this past weekend.
Oh, Reggae Joe, I'm so sorry about that. I think that call was insane.
Thank you,
SGA,
Reggae.
he hit the ball first, and then he hit PJ Washington's arm, and literally in the rule book, literally the next game, that same thing happened.
I just don't
And
like Secaucus making the decision. It was a foul. I'm not going to say differently, but I just don't like it when the game is decided on a replay. It
yeah,
just it's like
it's a tough one. It
yeah,
is a tough one. And
yeah.
then real quick, Curtis Fair said, "John, what WNBA team are you rooting for?" So I am rooting for the Aces, and don't call me a bandwagon. The reason why I root for the Aces is because my daughter absolutely loves watching Kelsey Plum. I don't know what it is. Like I've shown her Sabrina, I've shown her Caitlin, I've shown her Maya Moore from back in the day, but she loves. She says, "Dad, can we watch Kelsey Plum?" So I'm hoping that she ends up being left-handed. Right now, she's shooting with her right. But so we just watch the Aces all the time. But I'm in the Bay Area, so they're about to have this new WNBA team here in like 2025 in the Bay Area. So I'm definitely going to go to some of those games and check that out. It might be my new favorite team, depending on.
Well, we're kind of spoiled because we had the Golden Knights win the Stanley Cup, and now we've had back-to-back titles for the Las Vegas Aces. Could it be 3 in a row? We'll see. But they're looking pretty good right now. Caitlin Clark has not been looking so good. I mean, there's that girl is given the green light. There's the green light, and then there's the green light Caitlin Clark has been given because that girl is just putting them up and putting them up and putting them up. But hey, more power to her. It's she's going through the phases that a rookie goes through. So hopefully she will come out of it on the other end a much better seasoned player, and hopefully a good career for her because it's going to prove a lot of people wrong because there's a lot of eyes on her and what she's doing right now. But yes, Las Vegas Aces, really, really a good team, and looking forward to seeing how far they go. So we'll see what happens.
Absolutely.
All right, my friend, great to have you here again. Impromptu Lakers fast break, late night with the Lakers fast break. Reggae Joe, again, you don't have to be worried or anything like that. My God, as we talked about earlier before you came on, you are the envy of every other NBA team with all the assets that you have. Maybe Philadelphia because they have a ton of cap space, but man, the fact is there is no excuse why you guys shouldn't be competing for a title every year for the rest of this decade. I think you have like 50, there's like 50 draft choices in total, uh, that you guys have through 2030, just an insane amount. So yeah, absolutely got every opportunity to succeed. So looking forward to seeing what OKC does going forward. But great to have you here, Reggae Joe, of course, JSJ, Xbox, Kurt Affair, Black. Also, always great to have you here as well. Cool, bro. I don't know if he's gone to bed. He said it's summertime for him. So NV213, wait until the Jazz come online. Probably not until 2026, but they're coming too. I think they're going to have to do something with Lowry Markkinen. So yeah, I think that's something that you'll see happening over the course of the summer. Moving him for a substantial amount of picks and assets, and I think that's going to put them forward as well. But Once again, it is John Costa, Lakers Corner Clutch Talk. We'll be back tomorrow after the Dallas game, talking about Dallas and Minnesota and whatever else news that the Lakers find themselves into on and off the golf course. We'll go ahead and talk about it right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.